I'm Kayla Barnes-Lentz, and I'm going to take you on my female longevity health optimization diet today. It's really just focusing on whole foods, but come along, I'm going to show you what I do. So every morning I do start with a little bit of coffee. It's only about a half a cup to 1 cup. You want to get a high quality coffee brand. Currently I have my friend Dave's, but I also love Holistic Coffee Roasters. It's biodynamic, but something organic, tested for mycotoxins, and this one actually has minerals in it as well. So I've actually been doing a pour over, so this will heat the water, and I do have a coffee maker. It's all glass. It's a Chemex, but I've most recently just been doing glass with a steel filter and the pour over. I enjoy the process in the morning, and also it really eliminates the opportunity for mold, which I love. So I don't have coffee on just an empty stomach. There's a few things that I add into my coffee to give me some protein prior to my workout. So I do the whole body collagen. This was a Thorne product. So put about 1 to 1.5 scoops of this. And I have to put an on-mark colostrum, great for gut health and then your immune system. And I'm also doing about 5 grams of creatine. So that is my morning coffee. I have that pretty much as soon as I wake up, and then I'll do my workout, and then I'll do a refeed, and I'll show you what my breakfast is like. Okay, so now we're gonna be cooking my first meal of the day. I always make breakfast for me and my husband. Today we have our favorite videographer, Joan, is here. And so I'm gonna make some breakfast for him too. So we have some more eggs, but there's always protein, healthy fats, some sort of salad, and some sort of fermented food. Also, I incorporate lentils from time to time, probably a couple times a week. But also some days I don't do lentils because they do take about 30 extra minutes to simmer. So we have some organic, biodynamic, free-range eggs here. So I typically do about 3 to 4 eggs in the morning. I cook these in a little bit of grass-fed butter. So right now I am trying to conceive, or about to try to conceive. So I am loading up on a little bit more of those healthy fats for hormone optimization. You could easily do, another oil, maybe an avocado oil to cook the eggs in. But right now I'm doing a little bit of grass-fed butter, some eggs, and then I will have a side salad. So I will do a little bit of just like salt and honestly use the fermented foods as a dressing. So we'll do some organic greens. And then there's a few options here, but we always have lots of options for fermented foods. So it's some kimchi, some black pepper garlic kraut, some garlic ginger sauerkraut. We're gonna do some salt and pepper and keep it pretty easy. And then I also really love, I don't have any on hand because my biodynamic farm delivery is actually coming later. So I work with a CSA for the majority of our produce. So finding local farmers so you can eat in season and local to you is absolutely ideal. When I was in LA, I did a lot of like Erewhon shopping, but now that I'm in Texas, I am using these local amazing farms. So we'll have some broccoli sprouts coming, some microgreens, and some other add-ins and vegetables for our salad. So basically, to break it down, we want high quality protein. It could be eggs. I also sometimes do some salmon in the morning. And then we want some fermented foods. We want some greens. So salad, a little bit of protein, and some fermented foods is the base of my breakfast every single day. And then for the berries, because I'm wearing a continuous glucose monitor, I know that they will spike, especially if I have them on their own. So I'll put them in a little bit of like coconut yogurt or full fat yogurt, or just have them at the very end of the meal and just have a small handful. But I love the blueberries and the dark berries for the antioxidant properties, polyphenols, and so much more. So in my eggs, what I think is kind of like a secret hack to make them more fluffy is, of course, we have the grass-fed butter as a base, but I'm also going to put a little bit of raw milk. Of course, you want to check the source, etc. But we're also going to be heating it up, so it's not really going to be raw anymore. But this is the only type of milk that we have in the house. My husband mostly consumes this. If you're struggling with any hormone issues or acne or digestive issues, I would recommend you cutting out definitely gluten and dairy. But this we have in the house, so I'm gonna add a little bit to the eggs to make them fluffier. So I do make literally all of our meals. So Warren and I eat out maybe 1 to 2 times per year. There's very, very few restaurants that I can actually trust. But 99.9% of our meals I cook at home with single ingredients, homemade, everything from scratch, and I just feel best about that. I know what's going into my food. I know how it's prepared. And for me, it's definitely a love language. I love to make healthy, great food for people that I love. And reminder, 3 of us are going to be eating eggs today, so we have a lot. We don't normally consume this many. And the company that I have found here in Austin, by the way, is called Gather and Deliver. So it's a small local company that works with farmers in the area. Even the fermented foods, most of those I got from Gather and Deliver. And then they actually drop it off at your doorstep on Fridays once a week. So you will be getting a restock later today. A little bit of milk for the fluffiness. I'm using this Baja Gold mineral salt and a little bit of pepper. Gotta be quick. Honestly though, all my meals are quick. Everybody asks, how do you make every meal? It's because they're all honestly quick and easy. I'm using a steel spatula. This is a green pan. I really like Extrema, and those are the two types of pans that I use essentially, is either Extrema or green pan is a pretty good one. Some people like Caraway, but definitely not using any Teflon pans. Another thing I love to incorporate in breakfast, this is more of a weekend breakfast, is I love to incorporate caviar. So caviar is incredible for brain health, loaded with omega-3s, which is so good for us. So on the weekends, I'll do probably more like an omelet style. So I'll do like some roasted peppers, maybe some onion, some mushrooms, and put that into an omelet, maybe a side of asparagus, a little bit of lentils. On the weekends are definitely a better time for me to really load up on lentils. And a lot of times I'll prep them. So I'll cook the lentils on Sunday, and then I will incorporate them in our meals throughout the week. So I like to be really gentle on the pans, even though these are non-toxic pans, just to ensure we're not like scraping any material. So try to be as gentle as possible. We also can turn on this. There's not too many fumes from the eggs, but when I make something like a salmon or a grass-fed meat or a lamb or anything like that, we want to make sure we have proper ventilation. So we have a Jasper right over there. We actually have two in this area, but we definitely want to make sure we're not breathing in those fumes. So having a good ventilated hood is important. Also, cleaning lady has not come. I'm working on finding a great one in the Austin area. If you know anybody, you can drop them. But yeah, a little casual cook and chat with Kayla today. So in the name of time efficiency, I'm going to go grab the plates while that's finishing cooking. Right now, I'm going to do a little bit of greens on each one of these. My husband eats all the greens first really fast to get it out of the way. I usually put a little more greens on mine, third greens, grab a few more. I'm going to set these different fermented foods out on the table so that people can mix and match and choose whatever is best for them. And then I'll also set the blueberries out on the table. So we just wrapped up breakfast. So I'm going to take my morning supplements. We have some phosphatidylcholine for detox in here. We have some urolithin A. We have some NMN, the 1,000 milligrams from True Niagen. We have some probiotics. We have some NAC. I think we have some, love you, baby. We have some vitamin D. We have a little bit of glutathione in here and some methylated B vitamins. Also just took my omega, which is in the fridge. So gonna take all these, and then we are gonna get back to work.
How many do you take at one time? Because she's pretty insane with how this works. So I'll have to do like 1 or 2 at most, whereas Kayla can do like 5 or 10 at a time. And I'm like, wow.
I mean, I usually do like
what's the most
2 handfuls at a time.
Okay, that was like 12 or 13, including the big rounded oval ones. Yeah, I cannot do that. Good job.
Right, all done. I have to make your supplements.
Yeah, so talk about my supplements. How many do I take?
Warren likes to take less supplements, so I make his about half that size. But I prep it for him every week, and of course we change our supplements on sometimes a weekly basis, depending on what's going on, but definitely every quarter when we do all of our lab sets. So I'll actually show you some of the boxes that we have. Actually, yeah, come on over.
And my love language is acts of service. So I really appreciate and feel loved when Kayla makes it for me. It comes in the containers of like 7 days of the week, which a lot of people that are older tend to have. But I'm like, no, we need like 20 of those. And in the fridge every day, I just open the day of the week, take my 10 vitamins, and it is amazing. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Okay, so we're about to have a lab testing day come up. So I did just find a great nurse to like come to the house, draw the labs. If you want to come over here, Jonas, I'll show you some of the test boxes. Okay, honey, love you. So we have a bunch of different stuff from Vibrant America. We're doing the longevity lab. I have a gut test pending. I have a total toxic burden here. We're also going to be doing some bioage tests. We're going to be doing some NED level testing. So we have all the test kits here, and then we will just have the nurse come and draw them soon. So I'm gonna hop in the shower, and then I typically do red light therapy right after, but I will kind of show you what the desk setup is before we jump into work. Okay, so it is 1:56. It's about 2 o'clock p.m. I'm gonna start prepping dinner because we'll eat at about 3:30. So I am actually getting ready to make a steak tonight. So I do have grass finished meat. So I'm gonna put it in a sous vide, but I don't use the plastic. So I actually use a medical grade silicone, and the temperature's not getting very high. It's only getting up to about 124. So this medical grade silicone really shouldn't be leaching. You can get these bags, always grass fed and grass finished. So I typically love to support local farms. There's some great ones here in Texas that I found, like Peeler Farms is amazing. But I did just order these grass fed and grass finished steaks from Whole Foods. So this is going to be really quick and simple. And this again is why I can just make dinner every single night, because we'll drop these in here and then I'll put them in the sous vide. Again, we're making dinner for 3 tonight. So we're going to drop them in here. I'm going to add a little bit of high quality salt, just kind of tenderizes it. But the other thing about cooking with sous vide is that it gets super tender inside. Because you're not cooking it at like this super high heat, it is very tender, very moist, and you really don't have to worry about it very much. It's not a complicated cooking process. So I'm going to put a little bit of salt in here. I feel like I have a cooking show voice right now or something. So we're going to put a little bit of salt. And then I'm just going to take these 3. We're going to hook up the sous vide. So I'm going to program this for 124, and it will just run on its own for a minimum of an hour. You could leave it in here for up to 2 hours if you had to run an errand. Makes it really easy for me if I, throw something in the sous vide. It could be salmon, it could be grass-fed steak, but then I have some time just to really get back to work, run an errand, do my biohacking practices, whatever it may be. I want to submerge the steaks in there and then use this little clip just to keep it under the water. I also love to throw some rosemary in there. I haven't actually been able to get any fresh rosemary since being here. I need to find a good source for that, but we'll put the steaks in here. The rosemary is a really nice add-on. If you can get it, just toss it in there and everything looks good. So this is just going to heat up, warm it with water, and then what I'll do is I'll take a cast iron skillet, get it pretty hot, and just toss it on there for about 30 to 45 seconds, depending on how you like the temperature of your steak. I like mine like medium rare, and then I'll give it a nice sear on the outside. With this, we'll always combine some sort of vegetable, sometimes multiple vegetables. Last night we had wild-caught salmon. Actually, it's not technically wild-caught. It's aquaponics or aqua farming, I believe is the term. I get all my seafood from a company called Seatopia, and I do this because they lab test it for heavy metals and microplastics. It's also all sushi grade. It's the best tasting fish that I've ever had. The sushi grade makes it amazing, and also the lab testing is just absolutely critical because we know that a lot of fish have high levels of heavy metals and microplastics. So tested for all of that. So last night we had salmon, we had kimchi, we had kimchi pickles, and then I made a really delicious green bean with that. So tonight I'm going to do steak, probably do maybe a cruciferous vegetable, maybe like some roasted cauliflower, some Brussels with a little side salad. So again, how I'm really preparing my plate is protein. We're going to have healthy fats. So I'm going to cook this in either a little bit of butter and then a little bit of healthy fat on the side salad with a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of salt, a little bit of apple cider vinegar maybe for the dressing. And then we'll have the Brussels, so more fiber in our diet, which is really, really helpful. I have the morning coffee, and then I have the breakfast, and then I have the dinner. The only thing that I didn't show you, because this is a filming day, is I also typically after breakfast I'll have a coconut yogurt, and in that I add Zen basil seeds, which is half of your amount of fiber per day. So I'll double up on those. I'll add a little bit more collagen protein, so I get a little bit more protein, plus the protein powder, plus hemp seeds, plus flaxseed, plus a little bit of half a Brazil nut, and a little bit of topped with a couple of blueberries if I didn't have those with breakfast. And then I will also sometimes throw in a little bit of raspberry in there. So it's a really nice post-breakfast meal, but that really helps me to get a lot of high quality protein, because I'm getting about 20 grams in the morning. I'm getting about 20 grams of protein at breakfast, and then I'm getting another 20 grams in my protein, like collagen protein, and then I'm getting another, 30 or so grams of protein through the steak. So I like to have a lot of high quality protein, not at all phases. So I do sometimes ease up on the protein and do more of just a plant forward if I want to induce a state of more autophagy, which is the cellular cleaning and renewal. But high protein diets can really help with being satiated. So it will really curb the craving. So I love to hit those protein requirements, great for muscle mass. But there are some days that I reel back the protein and focus more just on plants and a little bit of lower calorie diet. So that is what I have for you now. And we're gonna have dinner in about an hour and a half. So you guys saw my morning collagen and colostrum and creatine coffee. So that's about 20 grams of protein. And then I'm doing 3 to 4 eggs. So then I'm getting a lot of protein there. And then I do kind of like after breakfast or midday, I will do this snack of grass-fed whey protein isolate. So I do 2 scoops of this, and then I actually add double the amount. So this is 15 grams of fiber for 1 serving. I actually add double the amount. So I'm getting 30 grams of fiber a day just from these Zen basil seeds. And then I also add in organic hemp hearts. I add some little organic fair trade cacao powder, some pumpkin seeds, and I also will add in a couple just like blueberries on the top, sometimes a raspberry. And then I'll typically throw in like half a Brazil nut. So this is a really high protein. So with that, we're getting 25 more grams of protein, which is great. And then for dinner tonight, I'm going to make, so about 3 to 4 days a week, typically 4 days a week, I'm doing some sort of wild caught fish. This is from a company called Seatopia. So they actually test their fish for microplastics and heavy metals, which I absolutely love. So tonight, again, we have Jonas here. So we're going to be making 3 salmons. About 4 days a week, I'm doing the salmon, and then we'll do like either a turkey or something of that nature, sometimes a chicken. And then we'll also do like 1 to 2 days of some sort of red meat, just depending. Also, sometimes we will do, a vegan meal from time to time, just depending on my overall activity load and protein requirements needed. So we're going to do the salmon. We're going to do some kimchi. So again, we're going to have some fermented foods. I'm going to roast some of these organic Brussels sprouts, great again for fiber. And then I get an at-home CSA. When I was in LA, I used Flamingo Estates. Now that I'm here in Austin, it's just biodynamic farmers that are local. So they sent this okra. I'm going to figure out what to do with that. But it's always a couple different types of plants, a protein. We'll put some olive oil on these Brussels, some olive oil on the okra. And so we have a lot of healthy fats, fermented foods again. So really just trying to have balance. I do have my entire breakdown of what I'm eating on my protocol.kaylabarnes.com. So there are a couple of variations for dinner so that you can see when I'm eating a red meat versus when I'm eating salmon and wild caught fish, and some of the other recipes that I like to cook up there as well. So this is what I'm eating for female longevity, also in a phase where I'm getting ready to try to conceive. So again, if you are not trying to conceive, you could probably do a little bit less of the healthy fats, possibly. Healthy fats are really good for our hormones as women, and I feel the difference every time I scale back on them. But if you're interested in more content like this, you can follow me, subscribe. I would love a like and a comment on this video. And if you appreciate it, just share it with someone you love.